Eric Hall, a trucker with 14 years hauling freight across the Deep South. From the humid coasts of Georgia to the piney hills of Alabama. The road's my refuge. Long stretches of quiet, the hum of my rig, and stories swapped at greasy spoons about things that lurk in the dark. I've always been the guy to laugh them off, chalking up ghost tales to tired eyes and too much coffee. I'm practical. Secure the load, log the miles, get paid. But last spring, on a lonely stretch of Route 84 in Alabama, something happened that broke my skepticism clean in two. It wasn't a ghost or a shadow. It was the passenger side door of my rig, flinging open on its own, and what came after still rides with me. It was just past 3 a.m., and I was hauling a load of lumber from Mobile to Montgomery on U.S. Route 84, a two-lane road winding through rural Alabama. The night was muggy, the air thick with the scent of pine and wet earth, a faint fog curling off the blacktop. My headlights cut through the dark, catching cotton fields and the occasional rusted barn. I was nearing a sleepy junction near Evergreen, a crossroads with a flickering stoplight and not much else. No houses, no cars, just a gas station long shuttered and a sign pointing to nowhere. My CB was off, the radio playing low gospel, but I killed it craving the silence of the road. I slowed at the junction, the stoplight glowing red, its hum the only sound besides my idling engine. I was alone, the road empty in every direction, the fog thicker now, like it was breathing. I rubbed my eyes, tired from the long haul, and considered pulling over for a quick nap. That's when it happened. The passenger side door of my rig flew open, hard, the metal slamming against its hinges with a bang that shook the cab. What the hell opened my door, and why was no one there? I froze, heart pounding, staring at the open door. The cab was empty. No one in the passenger seat, no one in the sleeper. I'd locked the doors in Mobile, double-checked them like always. Outside, the junction was still. No wind, no movement, just the fog and the red glow of the stoplight. I leaned over, my hand shaking, and grabbed the door handle, yanking it shut with a clunk. I hit the lock, the click loud in the silence. But my skin prickled, like someone was watching. The air in the cab turned cold, heavy with a smell, like damp cloth and old tobacco, creeping through the vents. I sat there, gripping the wheel, my eyes darting to the mirrors. Nothing. No figure, no shadow, just the empty road and the fog curling like fingers. I told myself it was a glitch, maybe a loose latch, but my gut didn't bite. I'd heard stories about Route 84, truckers talking about lights in the fields, voices on the CB, things that didn't belong. Some said it was the ghost of a farmer killed in a wreck decades ago. Others whispered about older things, tied to the land itself. I shook it off, hit the gas, and rolled through the junction, the stoplight turning green like it was letting me go. Why did the door open? And why did it feel like I wasn't alone? The road stretched on, the fog thinning, but the cold stayed, my breath fogging the windshield despite the heater. My CB crackled, though I hadn't touched it. A voice, low, raspy, with a southern drawl, whispered, "Eric, stay a while." My name. My stomach dropped. I yanked the plug, but the voice kept going, circling the cab. "Stay a while." I checked the passenger seat again, empty, just my thermos, and a crumpled pack of smokes. But, in the side mirror, I saw it. A shadow in the sleeper, blurred, like someone sitting just out of sight, gone when I turned. I floored it, the rig roaring through the Alabama night, the junction fading in my mirrors. My cab camera's red light blinked, recording the empty road. The voice came again, fainter but persistent. "Eric, don't go." I glanced at the mirror and my blood froze. Scratch marks, jagged thin, like fingernails dragged through dust. etched the frosted glass of the passenger side window, fresh and deep, glinting in the starlight. I hadn't stopped since Mobile, hadn't touched the window, but there they were, like someone had clawed to get in or out. What left those marks, and why was it calling my name? I pushed the rig harder, the lumber creaking in the trailer, the road curving through pine forests and past silent fields. My mind raced to the stories. Truckers at diners talking about Route 84, about a junction near Evergreen where things went wrong. A farmer, they said, killed in the 70s when his pickup got crushed by a semi. His ghost still wandering, opening doors, looking for a ride. Others swore it was something older, something the Choctaw knew to avoid, tied to the land's blood-soaked history. I'd laughed then, but now, with the cold and the smell and the scratches, it didn't seem so funny. I didn't stop until I hit a truck stop outside Andalusia, its lot packed with rigs, the diner's neon sign glowing like a beacon. I parked under the brightest light, my hand still shaking, and stumbled inside, the smell of coffee and bacon cutting through the tobacco and cloth stench clinging to my jacket. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Tammy, poured me a cup and eyed my face. "You look like you've seen the devil himself," she said, her voice soft but sharp. "You ever hear about anything weird on Route 84? I asked, my voice low. "Near Evergreen, a door opening on its own." Her hand froze on the coffee pot. "The junction ghost," she whispered. "You felt it, didn't you?" She slid a napkin across the counter, a single word scrawled in pen. "Don't." She walked away, her eyes avoiding mine, like she was afraid to stay near me. What was the junction ghost, and why was Tammy scared? I checked my cab camera footage the next day, needing proof I wasn't losing it. The video showed the junction, the stoplight glowing red, the passenger door swinging open, clear as day, no wind, no hands, just opening on its own. At 3:02 a.m., the audio caught it. "Eric, stay a while." A shadow flickered in the sleeper, blurred, like someone leaning forward, gone in the next frame. The scratch marks on the window were there, caught in the side camera's glare, deeper now, like a desperate plea carved in glass. I sent the footage to my boss, expecting a laugh or a warning about long hauls. He didn't reply, just called and told me to take a few days off, no questions asked. That wasn't normal. Bosses want paperwork, details. A week later, I was at a bar in Montgomery, swapping stories with other drivers. I mentioned the door, the voice, the scratches. Most laughed, called it a ghost story. But an old-timer, his face like weathered oak, didn't. "You met the junction ghost," he said. "He's been on 84 for years." "What do you know about him?" I asked, my throat tight. He leaned in, eyes dark. "Back in the 70s, a farmer got killed at that junction near Evergreen. Semi ran him down, crushed his pickup. They say his ghost haunts the crossroads, opening doors, asking for a ride to wherever he was going. Some say he's just lost. Others say he's angry, wanting company in the dark. Drivers hear him, see his marks. If you stop at that junction, he gets closer." "What does he want?" I said, my voice shaking. He didn't answer, just pointed to a photo on the wall, a faded shot of Route 84, dated 1976. In the corner, barely visible, was a figure, blurred, in overalls, standing at the junction, his eyes glowing white. On the ground beside him, a black leather glove crusted with frost, though it was summer in Alabama. Was it the farmer's ghost, or something older tied to the land? I don't drive Route 84 anymore, not near Evergreen, not at night. I take I-65, longer but brighter, where the fog doesn't feel alive. But he follows me. At night when I'm parked, I smell it. Damp cloth and tobacco, heavy and sour, seeping into the cab. I hear the CB crackle, though it's unplugged, his voice drawling. "Eric, stay a while." Last week I found something under my bunk. A black leather glove, stiff with frost, though it was 85 degrees outside. I burned it in a fire pit, watched it curl and blacken, but the smell didn't go away. Last night I was parked in Georgia, miles from Alabama. The CB crackled and his voice came through, closer, hungrier. "Eric, open the door." I checked the camera feed, my heart pounding. And there it was, the passenger seat, empty, but the door handle twitched, like someone was pulling from outside. In the mirror I saw them, scratch marks, deeper now, etched into the glass like a claim. Outside, in the dark, I heard it, a soft knock, like knuckles on metal, waiting for me to let him in. I don't know what the junction ghost is, a lost farmer, a spirit, or something the Alabama night won't release. I don't know why he chose me, or what he wants me to stay for, but I know he's out there, on Route 84, standing at that junction, watching. And I know, if I ever stop there again, he'll climb in, and this time, the door might not shut? Will I ever escape the phantom passenger side door? If this story gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know what's coming next. I'm Marcus Florence, a long-haul trucker with 15 years of rubber under my wheels, running loads from the oil fields of Texas to the ports of Louisiana and back. The road's been my life since I lost my sister in a car crash a decade ago. Driving keeps the memories at bay, the endless highway a kind of therapy. I've seen my share of odd things out there. Deer with eyes that glow too bright, hitchhikers who disappear when you look twice, shadows that don't match the light. But nothing ever shook me like that night last summer on I-10 eastbound through Texas, heading to Baton Rouge with a load of machinery. It was the kind of night where the air hangs heavy, the humidity sticking to your skin like a bad dream. The woman in the median changed everything, and now she's with me on every run. The sun had set hours ago, leaving the highway a black strip cutting through the flatlands. The median, a grassy divider, dotted with reflectors that caught my headlights like cat's eyes. I was east of Houston, the traffic thinning to nothing, just me and the occasional semi passing the other way. My cab was warm, the AC struggling against the muggy air, the smell of diesel and my half-eaten burger filling the space. The radio was on low, some country station crackling with static, the singer crooning about lost love. I sipped my coffee, bitter and cold, my eyes scanning the road for deer or drunks. Then I saw her. At first, she was just a shape in the median, sitting cross-legged on the grass, her back straight, facing the oncoming traffic. A woman, maybe in her 30s, with long dark hair blowing in the wind from passing cars. She looked normal enough. Jeans, a light jacket, like she was waiting for someone. My heart skipped. What was she doing out here? Stranded? Hurt? I slowed the rig, the trailer groaning behind me, and leaned toward the passenger window for a better look. She didn't move, didn't wave, just sat there, staring ahead. Why was she sitting in the median? And why didn't she look up as I approached? I eased onto the shoulder, the gravel crunching under my tires, my hazard lights flashing. The radio cut to static, the singer's voice fading into white noise. I grabbed my flashlight from the glove box, the beam shaking slightly in my hand as I stepped out. The air was cooler than I expected, a chill wind cutting through the humidity, carrying the scent of wet grass and something else, faint, like wildflowers mixed with decay. "Ma'am, you okay?" I called, my voice echoing oddly in the night. No answer. I walked closer, the beam sweeping the median. She was still sitting, but now she looked dim, her edges fuzzy, like a photo out of focus. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, her hair moving in a breeze I couldn't feel. My stomach knotted. I stopped, the flashlight beam trembling on her form. "Hey, you need help?" Still nothing. She didn't blink, didn't turn. I took another step, the grass wet under my boots. That's when it hit me. The wildflower smell was stronger, cloying, like a funeral parlor. I swung the light around, scanning the darkness. No car, no bag, no sign she'd been dropped or walked there. Just her, dim and fuzzy, sitting like a statue. I backed away, my heart pounding, and climbed into the cab, slamming the door. I glanced in the side mirror as I pulled out. She was gone, vanished. The median empty, the grass undisturbed. If she was there, how did she disappear so fast? I accelerated, the rig rumbling back onto the highway, my hands gripping the wheel white-knuckled. The radio came back, the static clearing to a song about a woman who left without a trace. I switched it off, the silence louder than the engine. The cab felt colder now, the air conditioner blasting, but a chill raised goosebumps on my arms. I told myself it was nothing, a hallucination from too many hours on the road, or maybe a trick of the fog rolling in from the fields. But the wildflower smell lingered, sweet and rotten, seeping from the vents like it was trapped in the cab. I cracked the window, but it didn't help. My eyes kept darting to the passenger seat, half expecting to see her there, dim and fuzzy, staring ahead. Miles ticked by, the highway empty, the fog thickening, reducing my visibility to a few hundred feet. I reached for my thermos, unscrewing the lid for a swig of coffee, when something clinked against the cup. I poured it out, a small silver locket, heart-shaped, tangled in the coffee grounds. My breath caught. I hadn't put it there. The locket was old, tarnished, with a tiny clasp. I pried it open, the beam of my flashlight revealing a faded photo inside. A woman, dark hair, smiling, looking just like her. My sister's face flashed in my mind. She'd worn a similar locket, lost in the crash that took her. Guilt twisted in my gut. I'd been supposed to pick her up that night, but I was late, on a run. How did the locket get in my thermos, and why did the woman look like my sister? I snapped the locket closed, stuffing it in my pocket, my mind racing. The fog pressed against the windows, the headlights bouncing back like I was driving into a wall. The radio turned on by itself, the gospel station from earlier crackling to life, a preacher talking about lost souls wandering the earth, begging for redemption. I slapped the power button, but it stayed on, the voice droning. They walk among us, the forgotten, waiting for someone to see them. I ripped the fuse from the dash, the radio dying mid-sentence. The cab was freezing, my breath visible, the wildflower smell overpowering, like I was in a field of rotting blooms. I glanced at the passenger seat, empty, but the seatbelt was buckled, as if someone had just been there. The fog lifted suddenly, the road cleared, the stars sharp overhead. I breathed a sigh, the cab warming, the smell fading to a whisper. I stopped at a truck stop near Beaumont, the lot half full with rigs, the diner open and inviting. I parked, my legs shaky as I stepped out, the locket clutched in my hand. Inside, the warmth and chatter of drivers eased my nerves. The waitress, a woman with a name tag reading Flo, poured me coffee and noticed my pale face. "You okay, sugar? Look like you've seen a ghost." I told her about the woman in the median, the dim figure, the locket. Her smile faded. "The median woman," she said, voice low. "Been seen on I-10 for years. Some say she's a ghost from a crash in the 90s, a woman killed when her car flipped into the median. Drivers see her, dim and fuzzy, vanishing when they get close. If you pick up something of hers, like a locket, she follows you." She slid a napkin across, a single word scrawled, "Don't." She walked away, leaving me with cold coffee and colder fear. If it's a ghost, why did she give me the locket? And what does she want? I left the diner, the locket burning in my pocket. Back in the cab, the wildflower smell was back, stronger, like she was sitting next to me, I drove on, the highway empty, the fog returning in patches. The passenger seat felt occupied, the air heavy, and I swore I heard breathing, soft and steady. I glanced over, empty, but the seat cushion was depressed, like someone's weight was there. The locket vibrated in my pocket, warm, and when I opened it, the photo was my sister, her eyes sad, her mouth moving in a silent plea. Guilt crashed over me. I'd failed her, and now this thing was using her face. I pulled over, the rig shuddering to a stop, the fog encircling me like a shroud. The passenger door creaked open, though I hadn't touched it. The woman was there, in the median, dim and fuzzy, but closer, her face clarifying. My sister's face, pale and sad. The locket in my hand opened on its own, the photo alive, her lips moving. You were late, Marcus. You left me. Tears streamed down my face, the guilt crushing me. I stepped out, the fog cold and clammy on my skin, the wildflower smell choking. I'm sorry, I whispered, walking toward her. She reached out, her hand fuzzy, insubstantial. As I got closer, her form sharpened, but her eyes were wrong. Black, empty, not my sister's. The fog swirled and voices whispered from the mist, a chorus of lost souls. The locket burned in my hand, and I realized the woman wasn't my sister. She was something older, using my guilt to lure me into the median, to join the forgotten. I dropped the locket, backing away, but the fog thickened, her hand grasping my arm, cold and real. If it wasn't my sister, what was it, and how did it know my guilt? I yanked free, running back to the rig, the fog clutching at my legs. The passenger door was still open, the cab filled with the rotting flower smell. I slammed it shut, locked it, and floored the gas, the rig lurching forward, the fog parting like a curtain. The woman was in the rear view, dim and fuzzy, waving, her face twisted as something not human. The locket was back in my pocket, heavy and warm. I threw it out the window, but when I checked later, it was on the passenger seat, open, the photo of my sister faded, her eyes black. The fog lifted, the road cleared, but the cold stayed, the smell whispered. I made it to Baton Rouge at dawn, unloaded, and headed home, the locket locked in my glove box. But the guilt remained, amplified, like the woman had stirred it up. I dreamed of the median, of joining her, of becoming dim and fuzzy. Was the woman a demon feeding on guilt, or my own mind breaking? I quit trucking after that, took a job at a warehouse in Dallas, no more highways. But the locket appeared in my drawer, the photo clearer, my sister's face pleading. The smell returns at night, the cold, and sometimes in my mirror, I see her, dim and fuzzy, waiting. Last night, my car door opened on its own, the locket on the passenger seat. I know she's still out there, on I-10, sitting in the median waving, and I know if I drive that road again, she'll climb in, and this time, she'll take me home. Will I ever escape the dim, fuzzy woman in the median?